Okay, I was going to make a quick video going through how I made my own gel, which I used in the first half of CCC. And the reason I chose to make my own gel was because it was, well, it's cheaper. I could make it a lot more concentrated, so that means it was lighter compared to how many carbs I was getting, and also it's just kind of a lot of fun and quite interesting. So it was really simple. I'm going to quickly run through it. First thing we need is carbs that are really easy to digest. So we use two different types of carbs or sugar, maltodextrin, which is the glucose, and fructose. So these are just sort of pure forms of maltodextrin and fructose, and then the only other thing you need is water and a little bit of pectin to make it turn a little bit jellyish. So I've got a little bit of equipment as well, whatever this is called in English. It's called a slikepot in Norwegian, which I think is kind of funny. A whisk, funnel, some containers for measuring out, and some nice scales which are really accurate. So these are actually to the 0.1 gram and 0.01 gram. So yeah, I will upload the actual recipe I used, but I've been through like quite a few different batches now. I think I'm on batch 6 or something. And it's different every single time. The main thing is the fact that it's like, okay, the recipe is set, but how you heat up the water, for example, makes quite a big difference because the water starts evaporating, so that means it gets more concentrated, so that means you need less pectin. So it's really about the methodology as well as the actual recipe. But we're going to start off by measuring out the glucose and the fructose. I'm going to try and make 300 grams of gel now, so I'm going to put in my fancy spreadsheet, 300 grams. So it says, because we're going for a 1 to 0.8 ratio of the glucose to the fructose, we're going to have 104.2 grams of maltodextrin and 83.3 grams of fructose. So we'll just measure that out, and that'll make our base mix. So 104.2. And then 83.3 of fructose. I just started boiling some water as well. 83.3. Sweet, and then the last thing is the pectin, which we're going to measure out separately. And for that we just need 1.5 grams. That's really not very much. So we've got our sugars, we've got something to make it into gel, and now we need some water. And for the actual recipe, we need 111 grams of water, and I've added on 35 in what I think is going to evaporate. So that means 111 is what we actually need, and then we're going to lose 35 through evaporation, which should hopefully leave us with 300 grams worth of gel. And I'm actually going to measure out the water boiling, so that means it is going to evaporate less when we're actually heating it up. So we're boiling the kettle as we speak, and I'm going to get ready a saucepan, which is the last thing we need. All right. So it's 111 grams plus 35 grams, which makes 146. So now we're going to go and cook all of this up. For that we need whisk and saucepan. Okay, we're going to start by getting the water to boiling. Which hopefully shouldn't take too long because I've already boiled it with the kettle. And the idea is we want to Dissolve all of the sugars in the water and then boil it lightly for a minute with the pectin added while whisking, and then we're pretty much done. So water's almost boiling. So we'll add our sugars all in one. Get those nicely dissolved. Wait for it to boil up a little bit. So you want to do this relatively quickly so we lose less in evaporation. All right, we are boiling. We'll get that on a light boil and then add the pectin, whisk it up real quick. We'll put a timer on for a minute. Okay, then we leave that to cool down. Once it's cool, we can transfer it into flexi bottle, and then from the flexi bottle, we just put that in the fridge, and then it should hopefully turn to the right gel consistency. So just leave that on the side for, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes, I guess it should start to cool down, and then before it's gone completely cool, use the, whatever that's called, to put it into a flexi bottle and then into the fridge, and then that should hopefully turn to the right gel consistency we're looking for. One thing to note is that there's nothing else in here, no flavorings, no acid to make the pectin work better, pretty much just relying on the water and then the amount of pectin I've used for that. And there's no electrolytes especially, so that means if you make gel like this, you're gonna have to make an electrolyte plan separately because there's no electrolytes in there, which you're gonna get from most other gel companies' products. Okay, the gel, Nearly Gel has pretty much cooled down, so it's safe to put into the flexi bottle. So you grab a funnel. Hopefully this goes fine alone. Pour them in. You can see it's already a little bit gel-like, but mostly liquid. See how much we get out of this. Kind of difficult to do alone, but you can use this guy to get everything out. All right, that's mostly everything. And there we have our soon-to-be gel. It's almost filled up the whole flexi bottle, not quite, so that was 300 grams worth. I'm not sure, I didn't actually weigh what it came out to at the end, but now put that in the fridge and then less than 24 hours and it should be the right consistency to be able to drink out of the flexi bottle, but not too thick that it's stuck in there. If it is a bit thick, you can put a little bit of water in and sloosh it around afterwards, but hopefully it's perfect because this is now batch number 7, so it should be. So in the fridge it goes. And now it's only to wash up and wait and see how it turns out.